Welcome, everybody. Starting this a little early today. And that's to iron out some technical kinks. This is the one thing I don't like about doing live videos is ironing out all the technical stuff. So, but we're getting that going now. Seeing that to public. So we are live on Facebook. We should be live on YouTube. And yeah, so welcome everybody to the Hypnotic Sunday service. I'm Evan Baumgardner, a board certified hypnotist from Elliott Bay Hypnosis in Seattle, Washington. For those of you that don't know me, and today I wanted to talk about this for a minute. I saw a Facebook post. Somebody was asking this question, and I thought it would be a good topic for a Sunday service, which is, can hypnosis help you get over a breakup? Can hypnosis help you forget about an ex or let go of an ex? And the answer is yes, absolutely. But one thing people always seem to want when this comes up, what they're looking for is somebody to do a eternal sunshine of the spotless mind on them. And hypnosis does not work that way. You're not going to just forget this person ever existed and have them be a complete stranger to you. No, what happened happened. And that is important, because no matter what, you learned something through all of that. You changed, you grew, you gained, even if it was painful, even if it was a very toxic relationship. In some way, you grew from that. You changed, because we are always growing as long as we're breathing. We're always changing, we're always growing. It never ever stops. We are constantly learning from what happened. But when it comes to having trouble letting go of an ex, accepting that, so like this person that was posting was like, oh, I can't let go of my ex-boyfriend, I'm stalking his social media, can hypnosis help with that? And again, number one, you just need to stop doing it, and hypnosis can make that a lot easier to do. But it's kind of like if you cut yourself and you keep picking at it, it doesn't heal. But when we have these emotions in there and it gets stuck on that scale where it's not flowing, and we get stuck down into apathy, into grief, into fear, and we're not just letting it cycle through, that's the same as just picking at that wound and not healing from it, not moving on from it. We're trying to have that reminder for some reason. And there are a few reasons for this. One of the things I kind of believe is our subconscious mind wants to prevent change. As strange as that sounds, even though I just said we're always growing and we're always changing, we absolutely are. But our subconscious mind, this animal part of us, that emotional mind that's been around for millions of years, long before our logical conscious mind ever existed, that's operating on the principle of everything keeps us doing everything to keep us safe, protecting us, and keeping us alive. So though it's to protect us or to give us pleasure, as to fill our biological imperatives, which as human beings, it's to survive and propagate the species. Those are, when you boil everything else away, those are the two things that drive all of life, right? Now, the catch with that is because the subconscious mind wants to keep us safe, because it's doing everything in its power to keep us safe. What it isn't doing, it becomes resistant to change, because what scares it the most is the unknown. There are too many what ifs. There are so many variables out there that it cannot calculate for it. So what it wants to do is shut down, keep us in place, keep us stuck, keep us where we are, because the devil you know is better than the one that you don't. So that's the way our subconscious mind operates on this. When it comes to relationships and letting go of that, it's kind of the same way. If we look at it as like anxiety is projecting into the future and depression is projecting into the past, when what those two things have in common is we're not being present in the now. We're not here. We're going off into the future. Oh no, what if we're looking back in the past. Oh, but this was and then we're taking that and we're projecting it back into the future. And we stay stuck. We don't move on because of that. And I always think of it like with the amygdala. It gets stuck open. And this is, the fight, flight, freeze response. And if we're looking for threats, we're looking for something. What hypnosis helps us do is get it going again. We're supposed to be going like this and flowing, not staying open in this like hyper vigilant state. So when there's a breakup, I think people will experience. I mean, I know it's a sense of grief. It's a sense of loss, and this creates an entire unknown. And like I said, the subconscious hates the unknown. It's afraid of it. That's nothing scares it more than that. What comes now? And it wants desperately to return to that baseline, even if you know that situation was toxic, that was bad, that it wasn't what you wanted, it doesn't serve your goals going forward. There's still going to be that pull to go back to it. And if you've broken up with somebody, you've probably felt that. There's that weird sort of thing, and that's why even when you want to break up, it can still be hard to do, because then you're staring at the unknown and you're trying to find ways to justify, oh well, this was bad, but is it really? Can I stay there? And you need to get your subconscious on board with that and be okay. I mean, the thing is, it's also like anytime there were good times, there would be bad times. You don't need to forget about all of that, because these are all things that you gained. Every experience that we have, we learn something from it, even if it's not readily apparent at the time. Down the road, something might click and it comes into place. That's why I always say there's no such thing as problems, there are only situations. And nothing of value is ever truly lost. And we learn from it, and hypnosis can help you in the case of a breakup. If you're like having trouble moving on from that, well, why don't you just let go? And even need to know. It could be something completely unrelated. Like I said, there is a grieving process in that, and it is as if somebody died. And maybe like if you experienced a traumatic loss early in life, so of a parent or something, and then you have like boom, this sudden breakup over here, way later, it'll ping that same string of grief going through. And then that will, because this hadn't been dealt with, this was something that you pushed down. This isn't going to, you're not going to be able to let go of that because it's this anchored in the past. And even you could process this and then go, oh, wait, this had nothing to do with anything. It was all this back here. And maybe you figure out, maybe it doesn't. All that's important is that you let go and move on. Some of that is changing behavior, like block them, delete them. If you can't stop stalking their social media, get rid of all that stuff. Because there's no need for it if you truly do want to move forward. And that doesn't mean that you're throwing away all the positives that happen to you. And it doesn't mean that you're dwelling on the negatives either. You're just letting it go. And one of the things I like to do myself in my own self hypnosis, meditation, and what I like to teach my clients is releasing. And this isn't just for breakups. This is anything. Do this just with whatever you've experienced throughout the day. And when we're releasing, what we do, and I'll take you through a quick little guided meditation. If you're in a car, why the hell are you watching this? Turn it off. But if you're not, and it's perfectly safe, and you don't need to be operating machinery and have to deal with distractions, or you just get yourself comfortable now. And just sit down, plant your feet flat on the floor, get nice and comfortable, and just look up, almost as if you're trying to look through a window in the top of your head. Just move your eyes up and take a deep breath in and exhale through the mouth. And as you exhale, just let those eyes go closed. And just relax as your breathing returns to normal. As you breathe in and out, just notice how relaxed that helps you feel. And what I want you to do now, with your eyes closed, is I want you to welcome any feeling of grief from this breakup. Any feeling of loss, just welcome whatever that is. Apathy, grief, fear, want, any of those emotions that you're feeling that have been keeping you stuck. Just welcome that in. And as you welcome it, just notice what that feels like and where you feel it in your body. And just sit with it. Just allow it. There's no right or wrong. And maybe you're feeling anger. Welcome that in. It's perfectly fine. Perfectly natural. And just sit with it. And just notice that. And now I just want you to just put that down and just look away from that for a minute and welcome in any sense of courage that you can summon up, even if it's small. The courage to move on, the courage to live your best life. Like I said, even if it's just 1%, just welcome any sense of courage that you have to move on, to let go of this old relationship. And just notice how that feels. Notice what it's like to just allow yourself to feel any sense of courage that you can bring up. Notice where you feel it. Notice how different it feels compared to the heavy emotions that you're feeling. And when you welcome that courage, and you can feel that courage, even if it's small, even if it's just 1%, that's good. Just ask your heart to open. And maybe your heart needs to close, and that's fine. Sometimes the heart needs to close before it can open fully. Don't force anything, just allow it to do whatever it does. And just sit with that. And then ask your heart if it can open a little more, even just 1% more, and a little more, and a little more, and a little more, and a little more after that. And ask yourself if you can welcome any more courage. Just a little more, even 1%. And a little more. And a little more. And a little more. Just notice that, feel that. And I want you to just set that aside and just look away from that for a minute. And I want you to look back at whatever the heavy emotions were, the apathy, the grief, the fear that comes with the breakup, all of that was keeping you stuck. And just look at that. And just notice that. And welcome it in. And notice if it feels any different now. Maybe it feels a little lighter. Not as heavy, not as sharp as it did before. And just notice that. And look away. And look back at the courage. And just notice that. And welcome in any more courage that you can summon in. The courage that it takes to look at the fear, to look at the grief. Welcome that in. Welcome that courage. If there's anger from the breakup that you were looking at, welcome the sense of courage that it takes to look at that anger and to allow that anger to reveal the fear that hides behind it, because there's always fear behind anger. And just welcome that and sit with that and notice that. That's right. And just notice how good that feels. Even if it's small. Just find that place where that courage comes in, and it just feels so good. And welcome any sense of love that you have for yourself. The love that's inspiring you to take care of yourself, that's inspiring you to move on, to let go of this old relationship that's ended, that no longer serves you. And notice that you can still feel that love that you had for that relationship, for the experience that you had, but that doesn't mean that you have to hang on to it. That you can just let it go. And now look back at the heavy stuff, at the apathy, grief, fear, anger that you were feeling that was keeping you stuck. Just notice how that feels now. Notice how much lighter that's become. As the courage and the love that you've welcomed in just seems to cause any of that heavy stuff that was sticking just melt away, drift away, fade away. As that burden that you've been carrying just begins to let go. Just notice how much better, how much lighter that feels now. And I want you to just ask yourself if you can just let it go a little more. A little more. A little more. And a little more after that. Just let it all go. Any of that grief, apathy, fear, guilt, shame, anger. Just let it go. Just ask your subconscious, can you just let it go a little more? And a little more. And a little more. And maybe your subconscious says, hell no, I can't let it go. And that's fine too. There's no right or wrong. Welcome that. Welcome any resistance that you have to letting go of that old relationship. And sit with that. And welcome that in. Welcome any sense of aversion that you have to letting go of that old relationship. Because we can't let go of something that we don't welcome. And just notice that. And notice that you are not your thoughts. You are not your feelings. These are simply things that you experience. And they can pass by and change just like the weather. And it's okay for you to just let it go. Now I want you to put that down, any of that aversion, that resistance, if it's still there. Any of that heavy stuff, just let it go and look back at the courage. Look back at the love. And welcome that. Just ask if you can welcome in a little more. A little more. A little more. Welcome the courage that it takes to look at the resistance and to admit that to yourself. Because that takes courage. That takes love for yourself to do. Welcome that. And notice how that feels. And now look back at the aversion, the resistance, the fear, the grief. And now back to the courage and love. Look at that. And back to the anger, the fear, the resistance of letting go. And look back to the courage. And as you go back and forth between the courage and the resistance, notice how much lighter that begins to feel. As that resistance to letting go of that old relationship just drifts away, fades away. And just ask your subconscious, can you just let it all go? All of it. Just let it all go. The resistance, the aversion, the fear, the grief, the guilt, the shame. Just let it go. Imagine it, a balloon in your hand filling up with all of that. As all that fills, just imagine it drifting off, drifting away, fading away. And now look back at the courage and let that all go too. And just imagine any of that courage, any of that love for yourself just filling up in that balloon. And when that's full, just imagine it opening your hand and just letting it drift off. Because we need to let go of the courage of the love, too, knowing that it'll come back as something better. And it's okay. You can just let go. And just watch those balloons just drift off to the horizon, drifting away, fading away. And notice how that feels. And when you've done enough and you've let go enough as you can, just coming back, open your eyes and just feel so much lighter, so much better. And just know that you have what it takes to let go of that. You don't have to be held prisoner by your emotions. They simply inform you of what's going on. You get to make the choice. You get to step into courage and change that. And like I said, when you let go of something out of love, it's going to come back to you, and it's going to come back 100 times stronger, 100 times better. And that doesn't mean you're disregarding any of the good times you had. You're just moving forward with your life and finding what you want and what works with you. So that is all I've got for today. I hope that's been useful, and leave a comment. Let me know what you thought, if this was helpful for you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and until next time, be seeing you.